Oh, the song's over. Oh, that means that we're on screen. That's right. It's another edition of Beats and Beatdowns right here on multiple platforms. I'm talking about Olay Podcast. I'm talking about Turnbuckle Studios, and I'm talking about Ring Respect Radio. No matter where you tune it in from, we're happy you're joining us here for this remarkable show where we talk about the influence of music on professional wrestling. We're in season number 2. It's episode number 3, and we're on the letter M right there. Karl, how you doing, my man?
I am doing absolutely fantastic. The reception that we have been getting has been astronomically fantastic, and I'm super happy that we decided to continue on with season 2. And yeah, we're even continuing on with more seasons on top of this.
We can't give up on this show. I know that it's something magical that's going on here. And right now we might be taking a road down A to Z to start things off here and talking about professional wrestling and music. But again, after that, once we get through this alphabet, it's a good possibility we might just go on over and start digging deep and finding what we want to find and going into that whole thing. But you know, one thing we do like to do, we'd like to interact with all of you fans as well, too. First and foremost, if you ever have a suggestion for something you want to see on a future episode of Beats and Beatdowns, reach out to myself and Karl. We want to hear from you. What's your favorite type of music? What are the bands that you saw influence professional wrestling that we could talk about right here on the show? But speaking of that as well, too, we were puzzled for the letter Q that's coming up very soon, and that's going to be a big Q&A session that we're going to be doing here on Beats and Beatdowns. So anything you want to know when it comes to the world of professional wrestling or music from our perspectives, throw those questions our way. Reach out to us on all social media, also on the YouTube channel here, anything you can. We will collect all those questions and get you answers when we get to that particular episode. But in the meantime, and in between time, we got the letter M to talk about, Karl. We're talking about, a guy. He's the little well-known free bird. You know, it's someone who's even had a certain tag situation named after a group that he was once a part of. And I'm talking about Mr. Michael Hayes, a.k.a. Doc Hendricks.
What a freaking talent. I mean, going back to the 80s with this one here, and we've gone back kind of to the 70s and 80s with maybe some other people that we've discussed on this program before, but I don't think that we've really delved into anyone musically and professional wrestling wise from back in the 80s. So this is going to be really interesting.
It really is. And again, my earliest memories, of course, watching wrestling as a kid was of Doc Hendricks and him being a backstage guy, an announcer, his involvement with, talking about the upcoming WWE, WWF back then, pay-per-views and stuff like that. I wasn't really familiar with Doc Hendricks, the wrestler, or better known as Michael P.S. Hayes. I wasn't familiar with the Freebirds because, again, while they're in the WWE Hall of Fame, they really never were WWE guys. These were more territory guys. Speaking of territories, I believe we have something known as T for the Territories coming up for the big finale of Beats and Beatdowns. And we have a very special guest joining us for that one as well, too. And I said before that P.S. moniker could be a little window into our special guest, but we're still not going to tell you until it gets closer to the time. We'll get there. It's going to be coming soon. Watch out for it. We got someone very knowledgeable when it comes to that era of professional wrestling joining us, and it's going to be a wonderful show. But Michael Hayes, man, what a great guy. Great mark he left on professional wrestling, along with his colleagues, came up with the Freebirds, which really were one of the first teams to really utilize music in professional wrestling. I'm not saying, and I know we're going to learn more once we get to the letter T all about it, but one of the ones that really popularized it, I would say, very much made it very a staple in professional wrestling and a part of their whole entire gimmick as well, too.
And off of the heels of that, actually allowed Michael Hayes to release and record an album off of the Bad Street USA theme that they would use as the Freebirds. It's just, so I just want to make sure that everybody kind of understands. So the Freebirds was a collective group of people that really transcended tag teams and really opened it up for the availability to have a different combination of people working as a tag team underneath the Fabulous Freebirds, which is kind of where nowadays we get like this Freebird rule of things when it comes to factions. So just a quick little blurb there for you so that you have a better understanding. But yeah, I mean, back in 1987, the popularity of the Bad Street USA theme song allowed for Michael Hayes to record and release Off the Streets. Yes, a full-fledged album from Michael P.S. Hayes.
Michael P.S. Hayes going out and doing what Hulk Hogan wished he could have done. Unfortunately, one of the two had more talent in doing it, backed up by the Bad Street Band. Michael P.S. Hayes really left a mark when it comes to not only professional wrestling, but also music as well, too. And he's been able to go on to do so many beautiful things. And when I want to talk about beautiful things, I want to talk about a very touching moment where he had lost one of the members of the Fabulous Freebirds, a good close friend of his, Mr. Terry Gordy. And in doing so, he he collaborated on a song that is known as Freebird Road. It was a tribute to his former fallen teammate, best friend, Terry Gordy. And it was actually based on and used with permission from Johnny Van Zant's, I believe it was Brickyard. Sorry, my writing is terrible. But
you are correct. Yeah.
Yes. But yes, it was used and an homage, I guess, so to speak, and based on that, as well as an homage to his fallen partner as well, too. A very touching song, a very sad moment as well, too. The wrestling world lost a wonderful, great wrestler in Terry Gordy. But again, Michael Hayes, even to this day, still embodies everything that the Freebirds were and continues to spread the love and everything and the word of the Fabulous Freebirds. And even someone like myself who didn't have that experience getting to know them as a kid has been able to go back and learn so much about the Freebirds, about Michael Hayes and Terry Gordy and the entire team and the entirety of their run in professional wrestling, tag team champions, going all over the place, working with some of the absolute best when it comes to tag team professional wrestling. If you want to go back and watch some of the stuff they did within some of these tag divisions throughout the territories, doing things with the Crockett Cup and stuff like that. I mean, it's just a staple of tag team wrestling. Anybody who wants to learn tag team wrestling can learn a thing or two from the Fabulous Freebirds.
They definitely can, and all you have to do is simply open up your computer browser and go to YouTube and type in the Fabulous Freebirds, and you will be flooded with a plethora of different matches, different different things that they have done, whether it was, interviews or whether it was just little segments. And yeah, you're so right when you're talking about, like, you can learn so much about the world of tag team professional wrestling from watching even just these, short clips that people have put onto YouTube from the Fabulous Freebirds. Now, I do just want to touch on what you had just spoken of there with Terry Gordy, who he actually died of a heart attack that was caused by a blood clot back in 2001. And yes, with permission from Johnny Van Zant, they were able to kind of re-lyricalize Brickyard Road with his permission to change it to Freebird Road. And yeah, like, so emotional and touching to really know and understand that through this hard ass that he was, through this Bad Street USA member, that there was this soft and sentimental side to him, especially for someone who is such a close personal friend, and to be able to shed a little bit of that badassery and really show you a little bit of who he is.
Yeah, and I mean, growing up, even watching him as Doc Hendricks and stuff like that, I always felt a connection. Like, he's somebody that really can connect with the fans. He's somebody that, he stands out like a sore thumb. He's got a lot of charisma, a lot of personality that really shines through. And then you just see the diversity in him. I mean, he's gone on to take backstage roles within professional wrestling. He's a mentor to some of the up-and-coming people within professional wrestling. And he's also left them with this plethora, not only of great great matches and great things that he's left, but also this great music as well too. He's a tremendous singer, vocalist, and performer. And to be honest, I'm surprised that there hasn't been more of a musical career from Michael Hayes. I would have thought with the success of what he had done that more people would have been clamoring for more albums. But I guess he was a very successful pro wrestler. The Freebirds were so big to the point where they were rock stars in themselves without having to be legitimate rock stars.
They definitely were, and I think a lot of that is attributed to not only their work in the ring, but their look to them as well. So I mean, if you want to maybe equate it to something of today, like let's maybe take Steel Panther without kind of the vulgarity and smut that comes with Steel Panther, but like just that look that they had, right? And you got to remember, this was back in the 80s, 70s and 80s when they really were coming up. So they had like that long, big, poofy hair, like the glam rock type of look to them, and because of that they were able to really become larger than life when it was presented to the people. And yeah, I mean, like glam rock, that's probably the best way that I can attribute it to.
I will say that it would have been quite the shocker if they would have been exactly like Steel Panther in any way, but you know.
Right.
Yeah, like,
oh God.
But just to talk a little bit about where Michael Hayes went throughout his career. I mean, I got written down here in about 77 to 82 is when he started working in the territory days. 82 to 86 is when he went over to World Class Championship Wrestling, not to be mistaken with World Championship Wrestling. 86 to 88 was the cross with the UWF and Jim Crockett Promotions that he worked over at. Yes. 86, he made a return to the WCCW before 89 to 94 working with World Championship Wrestling, WCW. So a lot of people know that he was over there for a stint of time. Before 95, joining the WWE as Doc Hendricks, and really essentially has been a staple within WWE in terms of backstage, somebody to rely on, the knowledge and stuff like that ever since, including to this very day, still working with the company.
It definitely he is. And I mean, that's again, just a huge testament to who he is and the influence that he has had on the world of professional wrestling, just being who he is. To this day, we still see him very flamboyant when it comes to his outfit styles. While he may not have the glam rock hair to him anymore, as age has kind of taken that away a little bit, he still makes sure that he looks very stylish, wearing generally at times a matching fedora to go along with the colorful suits that he will wear. He really knows how to present himself as a star. So it's fantastic, and I love that he is still working with the company of the WWE.
Yeah, and hopefully I can look as sharp as Michael Hayes when I reach his age. I gotta say that compliments to Mr. Michael Hayes and just how sharp he looks at that age. Damn, dude,
right?
Doing well for yourself. But a testament to his time working within WWE. Hasn't even been honored in the Hall of Fame as Doc Hendricks yet, but they did bring in the fabulous Freebirds. And again, this is something that WWE has done multiple times, bringing in somebody from outside of working with WWE. There is the connection there. Obviously, Michael Hayes has been a staple within the company, but they did honor the Freebirds and put them in the Hall of Fame. I'm sure at some point in time, again, this comes down to it, they like to do their multiple people, two-time Hall of Famer. I'm pretty sure that Michael Hayes will be inducted for his work as Doc Hendricks, not only the interviewer, the commentator, but also the manager. A lot of people forget that this was a guy that also managed the Hardy Boys for a stint of time in the WWE.
Yes, he did. And it kind of gets passed over a lot because while it wasn't a huge part of the Hardy Boys' career, it definitely was a influential part of the Hardys' careers to be able to have somebody with the caliber of a Doc Hendricks or a Michael Hayes by your side. Absolutely astounding. And he even went as far as changing his look a little bit to kind of emulate what the Hardy Boys looked like in their ring gear himself, to kind of mold and meld all of that together, so it kind of, it was seamless. It didn't look like this old guy, you know, outdated, whatever, trying to be part of this group here. He really made sure that he connected with both of them to bring everything together in a nice, tight knit package.
He really did, and it's even more interesting to think that not only was he passing on knowledge of tag team wrestling, but possibly passing on a little bit of musical knowledge to young Jeff Hardy there, who we know has gone on to do some things musically as well within his own career.
Oh yeah, he definitely does. Peroxygen, I believe.
Somehow you put it with a whole bunch of question marks and punctuation in the middle there, because I still to this day, and I'm going to say it only once because we don't cuss too often, I still don't know what the fuck the name of that band is.
That's about as close as I can figure. Peroxygen. Google Jeff Hardy music.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, and maybe that'll be a topic for another time. But again, we're talking about Michael Hayes right now, and just a wonderful human being, wonderful man that's left a great bit of influence. Don't only just check out his music, but check out the lineage of his professional wrestling as well too. I encourage people to go back and find out about the history of wrestling. People are so quick to just push it away, like it doesn't matter. They don't get it. It's so disconnected from wrestling today. Wrestling today doesn't exist without these guys. These guys paved a way for what you watch today, and there's a lot of things, like a lot of the things you watch nowadays that you think are cool, you could probably go back and at some point in time in professional wrestling find a lot of these guys doing those moves that haven't been done in 30, 40 years, and the really intelligent professional wrestlers of today are seeking out those moves that are not commonly done anymore and bringing them to the forefront, and in doing so are opening eyes to a whole new generation based on what they used to grow up on.
And that it's something that is kind of lost on I guess maybe the newer generation of professional wrestling watchers, because they're not going back far enough, right? Because everything old is new again at some point. And I mean, like, you take a look at like groups today, like the Young Bucks. All right. So when you think about the Young Bucks, people kind of equate them to like the Hardy Boys, right? But they're not going back far enough, because I see a lot more of the Freebirds when I'm looking at the Young Bucks as opposed to like the Hardys, right? So it's something that I wish a lot of people would do, is just kind of go back a little further to be able to see that, yes, these people from the 70s and the 80s are the ones that really were the influences on what you were seeing and what you're watching today. And that without them, we may have had the Hardy Boys, we may have gotten the Young Bucks, but I don't think that they would have been as popularized if it weren't for people like the Freebirds.
Well, I'm really praying that after making the connection between the Young Bucks and the Freebirds, that we haven't just lost our special guest for the season. But we'll make sure to talk to him and tell him it's still all good. It's still all good. But yeah, I know he definitely would not make the same comparison. But I understand where you're coming from. Don't get me wrong. Whether you're a Young Bucks fan or not, divided or not on the topic, still, inevitably, it comes from a deeper place, and the Freebirds being one of those. And I'm sure, again, once we reach the end of the season, our special guest is going to be able to take us even deeper than what you and I are probably going, and take us down a real journey, and that's going to be something else. Michael Hayes, great talent, great wrestler, great musician, all these wonderful things. And I'm going to say, if there's nothing else that we can add to this conversation, it might be time for our final segment of the show.
Well, I do just want to mention that, I mean, not only professional wrestling, but he was able to take musically and bring over to screen as well. So I don't know if you're aware of this, but Michael P.S. Hayes has done a lot throughout his career, and he made an appearance on the much-loved movie Highlander. He didn't appear alone. He appeared alongside the other fabulous Freebirds in a short wrestling scene during the film's opening segment. It isn't just like a blink and you'll miss it type of situation, but they're actually on the screen and in your face for quite a while during the opening of this movie. So again, just their popularity and their charisma made them the perfect choice for that scene within the movie at that time. So again, another person going from music and bringing their talents to movies, music, and wrestling. Like it just is full circle when it comes to entertainment wise, when it comes to Michael P.S. Hayes. And I'm thankful that we've been able to have this much from him.
Yeah, and you know what? Once again, Michael P.S. Hayes is stealing the thunder lips right off of Hulk Hogan and crossing over into movies as well, too. But now as we reach the end, we like this segment of the show where we talk about our favorite song. And again, we already talked heavily about this particular song when it comes to my choice for this one. I'm going with Freebird Road because, again, it is so touching. And I see it in your face. I think you're going that direction as well, too. Maybe not. Oh, you're going to go
nope.
deep. All right, perfect. I like that one. I'm looking forward to hearing this. But Freebird Road being such a very touching homage to Terry Gordy, and now that I've come to learn more about the Freebirds, learn more about Terry Gordy and his career as well, too. Going back and hearing this song, I mean, I'm not too emotional of a guy usually, but I was fighting it back a little bit, just a little.
I've had way too much emotion over the last little while to have gone that deep with my pick. So I went with something a little bit different that kind of maybe ties into some other things that I do here in the world of broadcasting. And my pick is off of the album Off the Streets. It is track number 4, and it's called Ain't Superstitious. Go and check that one out.
Great song, actually. I love that one a lot too. And yeah, again, I went with the emotional cut, but again, that song is very, very strong, very, very good track. And again, just check out the whole damn album.
Yeah.
Go sit back, listen to it. It is a great 1987 classic hit at this point in time. Go check it out and support that stuff immediately. Again, Michael P.S. Hayes, this has been a wonderful topic. Karl, glad we got the opportunity to talk about him here. And again, we got a lot of other great people to talk about this season on Beats and Beatdowns. Again, let us know who you want us to talk about in future episodes. But we got a new episode coming out in a week's time because we're heading over to the letter N. And this one, we're going over to the side of the ladies again. We're really fixing it up this season. We started with a guy, we went to the ladies. Okay, we go over to the ladies. This time, we're going to somebody a little bit more on the modern side and definitely on the heavy side. Well, sort of. Anyway, she might have taken a little bit of different direction as of late, but we'll talk all about it on next week's episode when we're talking about Nita Strauss.
I am stoked to talk about this one. Absolutely fantastic artist who has done so much, so many different things, worked with so many great people as well. And her influence in professional wrestling is next level.
Next level. Yeah, I like it. Great reference. Beautiful. Just like this show is. And like every single one of you are that watch along each and every week with myself and Karl on Beats and Beatdowns and all the other stuff that we do here on the multiple platforms that we do. We couldn't do it without you guys. Your support means the world to us, and we continue to do this because you continue to tune in and listen. And with that being said, I'm going to move over to you, Karl, and find out if I was one of those beautiful people watching along, where could I find you this coming week?
You can find me on multiple different places. The best way for you to find what I am doing is to follow me on 2 different platforms. One, YouTube, by searching Turnbuckle Studios on YouTube. You will see that wonderful TS logo that is there. And over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Turnbuckle Studios. I do multiple different things from Turnbuckle Talk on Tuesdays to doing, sometimes I'm able to do a Monday Night Night Raw watch along on Monday nights. Mondays as well, we have, yes, I ain't superstitious, paranormal that happens over there as well. You never know where you're going to find me, whether I'm doing another Beats and Beatdowns or I'm doing a Karl unboxes. Who knows? Follow those platforms, though, and that's going to be the easiest way for you to know when a new episode of something drops.
And maybe we'll share the screen more times, doing reviews of different shows, reviews of music outside of professional wrestling, where you can find me over at the Bravado. I'm doing reviews of music, of movies, all sorts of things that, keep me interested outside of the world of professional wrestling, because, a busy mind is a good mind, mind you. But yeah, so you can also catch me Thursday nights with Papa Smokes, where we bring you all the MLW coverage on Fusion. Fridays when we drop new episodes of Bring Respect Radio, and Saturday afternoons where you can watch a new match from Prairie Pro Wrestling with Papa Smokes and I on commentary. And Sundays, the show that completely goes off the rails each and every week, because the two hosts, we usually are pretty wild and crazy by Sunday afternoon. Myself and Chris Parrish joining you for Busting Out each and every week. You can find that over on different multiple platforms, YouTube, and as well as Twitch over at it's Our Local Establishment.
Yes.
Abbreviated OLE, but Our Local Establishment on Twitch, where you can find all those wonderful, fantastic, great shows. If you like video gaming and just oddball shit where you get to hang out with me, you can check out Video Bro _ Bobby Butson over on Twitch as well, too, where we have a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Yeah, but I think that's going to wrap it up. We're looking forward to another episode of Beats and Beatdowns coming up very next week with you guys. Thank you for tuning into this episode, and as always, go out there and rock on.
Trendsetters, the school of hard knocks and that attitude era. Yeah, I just wanted to be one of the best, holding the mic as I'm yelling out.